Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Happy Tuesday to you and your family. Hope you're having a great day. We're taking a look at Bitcoin, of course, helping understand, kind of what's going to happen next. At least that's the goal, right? And while it hasn't pulled back the way that we want it to, it is showing some signs that it's slowing down, which is a positive sign for the rest of the market to kind of catch up, right? So a lot of good stuff here in the overall sense of things. It's nice to see Bitcoin showing some strength for a change. But again, this should be corrected in the relative near future. So try not to go too crazy with long positions. That's just my personal opinion. I do think that at this point, we should see some kind of correction, but again, we're starting to work our way up here, so we'll talk about that and much more. If you're new to the channel, no, I'm not a financial advisor. I've just been teaching and trading for over 17 years now. It's been an awesome experience. I love that I can do this every day for a living, and it's just a very free and fulfilling life, of course, to be able to, help people, trend through the follies of cryptocurrency and of course the positive that comes along with it. And speaking of positive, I want to kind of highlight some really cool things here. I want to say well done, good job, well job, combination of the two, right? For guessing here, this fellow just graduated from their demo account and they are happy with the result of a 218% 25x long from Crowcoin. I am happy too for you. Well done. Keep up the fantastic work. You're definitely not worse for wears, and I love your name, guessing, because hopefully in time you'll be learning and obviously winning. That's the whole point, right? So either way you look at it, everyone's doing fantastic. I'm super proud of my community members here. So keep up the great work. I'm very proud of you and just happy to be working alongside you. So if you want that for yourself, again, cryptocash.tech is a site. We do have signals as well that I send out for all the trades that I take. We took a few short trades here recently, hoping that's going to work out. We're going to look at Bitcoin, of course, and identify if that's a possibility or not. Now, take a look here at the $10,000 prize pool, just to quickly clarify. Bitget allows for us to benefit as a community by using their exchange. So it's really simple. You use the link down below, you register, and you're instantly eligible for that prize pool. And that usually takes place in the second half of each month. Okay, so I'm working with my guy to figure out the details on that, but it should be 10,000 this month, and that number will continue to increase as we get more members. Also, you will need a VPN if you want to use Bitget in the States or in countries that are restricted for the moment. So just keep that in mind. VPNs are very helpful for your security. You get 3 months free with a 12-month plan through Express. Super stoked to be working with them. I've actually used them for years, and it's awesome to be able to kind of be on the same page there and offer that benefit to the community. All right, so with Bitcoin, let's talk about some obvious stuff. Okay, so overextension plus 5, 6, 7 now, somewhere in that range. So we're in 7 days of overtime right now where the price action should have pulled back but keeps going up. Okay, so again, when that occurs, there's a handful of things and a handful of reasons, right? We've got a lot of new money in the market, and there's different ways to identify that, but if you can take a look at Bitcoin dominance and how much it's grown, that's an indication that we're doing well, because concurrently all the altcoins are increasing as well. So if you got Bitcoin dominance up in the last, just say, week, 7 days of trading, we've got 5% increase in Bitcoin dominance. That is huge. That's really large. It's the largest point in which we've seen in quite some time. We haven't had this high of dominance since July of last year. Okay, so it's been pretty low. Interest has been low. So as Bitcoin dominance increases, altcoins typically start to decrease, but they've been going up. That tells us a lot of new money is coming into the market. And that's a positive sign, right? That helps us understand that the price point for Bitcoin right now could sustain itself. There's a possibility of that. Now, while I feel it's still overextended and we should see a retest to fill the CME gap between 19,000 and 20,000, there's still a probability that the price could stay where it's at. Now, let's talk about the CME gap here just so you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. With the CME futures, it's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. These gaps inevitably are filled. In other words, what happens here is that on the closing day, Friday, because basically futures are closed on the weekends, we have a +1 closure too based on holiday for Monday yesterday for the Martin Luther King. That being said, the market essentially opened pretty significant on Tuesday, which is today. Okay, so we got a pretty obvious situation where the price gapped up. Okay, so over the weekend, the price of Bitcoin went up. Those profits from the weekend are typically taken early in the week, the following week, based on the simple fact that there's a lot of money in here that the large, market movers are essentially seeing as juicy targets. So what typically happens is they sell to reach this level, and oftentimes it bounces. So that puts us right at about 20,000 or the upper 19,000 range. That's my speculation, and half the reason why I took some short positions here recently, because I'm fairly confident that Bitcoin will continue to retrace to meet that gap. Okay, so just know that that's on the horizon. If we go up from here, there's a strong chance it will inevitably come back down to that level. We don't want it to drop like a rock, right? We want Bitcoin to continue to correct itself naturally. And what does a natural correction look like? It looks like this, all right? It keeps going up and down. It doesn't just keep going straight up. Okay, so this is a problem in my personal opinion. In the big picture, I don't think it's sustainable for Bitcoin to hold this price unless we've at the very least filled that gap down to 20,000. Cool. So that's kind of where my anticipation, my goals of opening short positions came from, right? And a lot of that comes with overextensions. A lot of these other coins are extremely overextended too. Either way you look at it here, let's go ahead and talk about the brass tacks here, what's going on. So obviously we've identified we're overextended by about 7 days. We're in overtime here. We've had roughly 16 days of continuation. Okay. Commonly, 9 days you'll see retracement. Why are we in 7+ days? It's hard to say specifically, but a lot of new money is coming to the market. That's the only explanation. Furthermore, we can see the price point here at 70 plus, so RSI is over 70 at about 89 even still. So it's been maintaining 89 for about 3 days. And if we look at Bitcoin's history, of course, it does sustain itself over that level for a handful of times. I mean, we can zoom in on one of these previous time frames when the RSI was up over 70, hitting about that same mark. It was there for a full week and continued higher. Okay, so there's no guarantees the price is going to retrace because of that one thing. But statistically speaking, when you have an RSI at this level, the likelihood of a correction is extremely high. It's probably like a 70-80% probability. So again, that being said, we're in a position right now where a lot of fundamentals will factor in. If we have any type of adjustment, just say for inflation, etc., we're going to see that come crashing down. We won't see that come crashing down if Bitcoin can correct itself naturally before that happens, right? It would be really nice to have Bitcoin pull back a little bit before we have any bad news. Again, overextended right now, the price will drop pretty hard. So just be on the lookout for that. We've also got some doji candles here. While we didn't have a full-on double doji candles close this weekend, as it looked like, we still have continuation of these doji candles. So that the range here kind of tells us there's indecision at this price point, reiterating that resistance level here at 21,300. So again, closing under 21.3 is ultimately what we're looking for to see the price continue lower. If it closes above that, doesn't mean it's going to shoot up, but it does imply that that could be the new resistance, turn support, and that would be a different story altogether. All right, so anyways, everything we look at here is overextended by far. We do have some positivity here in the overall sense of things, whereas the actual moving average here, the 200-day SMA, is averaging itself out at 19,500. That implies that this is a strong support level. So if you were to short, hypothetically, that's probably the lowest point in which the price should go. That's essentially what we're looking at. Or if you wait for a long position, etc., add to position, 19.5 makes a lot more sense than anything below that, based on that being a very strong support level in the past. And we can see the opposite of core supply, where it's a strong resistance level too. Okay, so the 200-day SMA has proven itself to be kind of one of those levels that is kind of a point of contention. If you are above or below it, you're either bullish or bearish, for lack of better terms. This doesn't imply we're totally bullish in the market. It just tells us that we are finally on the right side of tracks and we're no longer making lower highs. In fact, we're trying to make higher highs and we're almost there, right? So we're basically getting stopped out here at that 21,500 just before FTX kind of screwed the entire market. We're right at that same level, right there, where the price action is trying to get past that resistance level. We have not been above this plane since September of last year, and the prices were still going down at that point. Anyways, a lot of information to kind of extract in larger time frames, right? I think we kind of covered that. All right, so 4 hour, take a look here. We got a lot of resets here, so nothing really telling us too much except that we're overextended going into this potential resistance level. We do have somewhat of a flag here forming, which does imply that a break to the upside is potentially higher, okay? And I say potentially higher because, again, there's so much overextension going into this. It shouldn't happen, but it could very well still happen, all right? We can also see a bit of a divergence here where the RSI is coming down and the price is going up. A lot of times that will inevitably come back down because of it, so I'm not super sold on either direction here, minus the fact that the macro is telling us we're going down. I really just feel like we're in a position right now where we're at a standstill. We just kind of got to wait for the market to make a move. And there's not much we can do to control that. What we can do to control it is minimize your risk and maximize your gain, essentially using lower leverage, and that's what we're doing as a community right now too. We're adjusting our leverage amount based on short positions that we have open. We're also going to be utilizing specific stop losses on shorts to ensure that if those trailing stop losses don't occur, we are able to get safely out of the trade with an isolated margin, okay? I typically love trading cross margin, but again, different strategies, different time frames, we got to adjust. That's how being successful in the market works. Regardless of that fact, we're looking at TD sequential here on the hourly. We came up to an 8 here recently. We kind of got a little reset, kind of going sideways. So you can see we're hitting a lot of 8s and 9s here for Bitcoin. So 3 or 4 9s in a row, and the price still can't break that resistance. That tells us is a pretty strong support. That pretty strong resistance level supporting the price action below that. So let's take a quick look at the cloud. Probably not a lot to extract here, but we are inevitably working ourselves either into the cloud or potentially below it if we break down. So the next 24 hours, if we kind of just, we start averaging ourselves at 21,000 or less, we can expect further downside and for the cloud to kind of work itself as a resistance. Between now and then, we're still above that, but we don't have any definitive signs like the lagging span or the conversion line, baseline. They're all kind of breaking even right now. So oftentimes in situations like this, you're supposed to kind of wait on the sidelines for some type of signal. But the bottom line is the signal has told us so far, if you have a long position open, you should have trimmed or closed your position by now, okay? And in turn, consider a short position, but we're not quite there yet, right? So a lot of little things to kind of factor in here. So again, big picture, ultimately, the macro is telling us that we're moving down. Or at least we should have, we're moving up, obviously, but potential for retracement is high, okay? 4 hour tells us we may still see a break above this resistance level. We're just waiting to see if we can close above or below that level, which is 21,300. Furthermore, on the 1 hour, we can also reiterate the fact that we are soon to enter the cloud. We could potentially break below that, and I think we want to wait for confirmation above or below the cloud ultimately before we take a position long or short. So those are things that kind of give me pause in taking trades either to the upside or downside. But generally speaking, no matter how you look at it here, the probability of filling that CME gap and the price coming down is, in my opinion, higher. And in turn, that leads me to believe that we should continue to maintain and hold our short positions open. That's, again, just my personal feelings. I could be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Trading is never 100%, okay? So try to recognize that too. If you are following my signals and things don't work out the way it's supposed to, it's all part of the big picture. We're minimizing our risk and maximizing our gains. And the truth is there's more profitable trades than there are losses, right? And that's just the whole trick of being a good trader is to maximize that. You're going to take a lot of losses in your time. And that's just the way it goes. It's all about getting back on the saddle and learning from your mistakes if you make them. All right. That said, thank you so much for joining me here. Hope that makes sense. You want to become a better trader. Obviously, you know where to go. CryptoCash.tag is the site. Look forward to working with you. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you.